What's up, everyone? I am your spiritual gardener, here to plant seeds of consciousness in your garden. You just have to water them. So we've got a bit to talk about. Literally, as we speak, the North Node has just moved into Gemini at this exact moment. And, you know, for those of you that don't know astrology too well or whatnot, this little thing here is the North Node. You see how it's on 0, 0, 0? So the second I started recording, ironically. And this chart will update every couple of minutes because that's how the planets move and that's how it works. But I want to get into a few things. I'm going to put some timestamps on here because I know I do ramble a bit. And the North Node's now in Gemini, so that's going to make it even more rambly. So look at the timestamps below. Skip to where you want to get to, but I'm going to go over quite a few things. The big thing right now is the North Node switching into Gemini, okay? Now, for those of you that don't know what the North Node is, we all have a North Node and a South Node in our chart. In Vedic astrology, ancient times, they would call this Rahu, and the North Node is known as being like the dragon's mouth. And then the tail, the South Node, is Ketu. And it represents things that we're trying to achieve in life, the direction of where we're wanting to go. And the South Node has been known to represent our past lives. Now, in astrology, we all have energy daily. Like, if someone were to be born right now, okay, this is what their chart would look like. You'd have different planets in different houses and different signs. Okay, so collectively, we're all feeling this energy right now, but for some of us, it hits you differently depending on your chart, okay? So what I'm going to do too, I'm going to post here right now. I want you to go to astro.com, astro.com. There's a free birth chart there. You can even go to, what's the other chart one we like to go to? Astronomy. Cafe Astrology. cafeastrology.com. Those two, you get your birth chart for free. It's going to be complicated looking at it, but I'm going to help you guys put together some pieces here so you can understand a little bit better yourself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little chart somewhere over here, and it's going to show you, you know, what the meanings of each house is. And so if you look up your own birth chart, you can see where this energy is going to be focused on, okay? So I hope that made sense. When we have the North Node anywhere, you want to focus on the energy that the house it's in and the energy that the sign represents, okay? So for everyone, it's in a different house, but it's all in Gemini for everyone collectively right now. Now, Gemini represents the mind. It represents how we think. It's literally considered the messenger of the gods, okay? So it's the closest to the sun. It moves the fastest. Everyone always freaks out over Mercury retrograde, you know what I mean? But Mercury goes retrograde more than any other planet, so it's kind of funny to me. But every 88 days, Mercury goes retrograde. And if you're common with astrology, what happens during Mercury retrograde? Communication errors, electronics, anything that has to deal with communication seems to have a little bit of a fallout, okay? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen with this Gemini energy, though. It's going to be a little bit of the opposite, okay? A lot of bit of the opposite. Because when we have the North Node in an area, we're directing all of our energy towards embracing those type of things, okay? And before I get ahead too much, we just left the North Node being in Cancer, okay, a water sign, which represents comfort. It represents home, family, emotions, mother, you know, all those things. So depending on what house it's been in for you, you take that energy and combine it with the house's energy. And that's where we've been for 18 months. So the last 18 months has been a lot of self-care that we've had to be going through, a lot of stuff dealing with our home environments, and just mostly like taking care of ourselves better, our mental, our just ourselves in general. And the South Node was in Capricorn, okay? My sun sign. And in Capricorn, the South Node, we just had, I mean, the craziest energy in Capricorn since the 1200s, okay? So we are now experiencing the same energy that we had during the witch trials, ironically. Okay, because people like me, astrologers or whatnot, I'm a worker of the light, period. Like, there's a light and a dark, and people get that fine line confused, and that's where we have the witch trials, okay? So, like, you know, I'm an astrologer, and that's all where my focus is, but there can be people out there that don't understand that, and they don't know what astrology is, and astrology is literally calculations of the planets through time, and we've been able to prove that these calculations and conjunctions make sense because we've seen history repeat itself so many times. Everybody knows, and everybody has said history repeats itself. Am I not right? And it does. Fashions repeat themselves. Trends repeat themselves. Events repeat themselves, okay? If you saw my post earlier, if you don't follow me on Instagram, it's Spiritual.Gardener, okay? But I posted a little bit earlier, there's this thing called the what is it? Centennial Curse? The Chesapeake Curse, something like that, I'm sorry. But it basically shows that every 20 years since our first president, okay? Every 20 years, a president is assassinated. And ironically, this happens every time Jupiter and Saturn conjunct, which means they meet right up with each other, okay? Conjunction is like best friends, they're hanging out. So every single time we've had a president die. Now, the last time this energy happened was in 2000 when George Bush was our president, okay? Now, George Bush, I mean, how many people were not happy with that, let's just say, okay? And he did have several attempts at being assassinated. They even tried driving a plane into, you know, the White House. And so all I'm saying is I don't want to make predictions about, you know, stuff that aren't so happy. But this new election year, I'm not sure who's going to be president. I don't know that any of us can really be sure. I'm not a psychic, you know. But there is a big prediction that, and I'm gonna say this now, that December 21st of this year, 2020, I feel like we are possibly gonna see an assassination of a president. The president, a president, I don't know. But something's gonna go down, and that's the date that I am comfortable with because that's when Saturn and Jupiter meet back up. So they've already met up, and Saturn has gone past, or Jupiter's gone past, I'm sorry, but now it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn. Okay, so Capricorn deals with governments. It deals with, you know, our public image, our status. It deals with goals, long-term, you know, long-term structures, career, anything that really has to do with government. For the most part, your outer appearance in the world, it's kind of like your career, what people see you as. So we've had the South Node there, endings to this Capricorn energy for the last 18 months, okay? So the North and South Node take 18 months to transit. I know I just went off on a big tangent there about damn presidents, so I'm sorry. I warned you guys, I'm going to make timestamps. But anyway, so the South Node being in Capricorn, we have seen some of the craziest, most drastic political changes in the last 18 months. And I'm sure we can all agree about that. Some pretty crazy stuff over the last 18 months, if not a little bit longer, but it all had to do with government. It all had to do with political leaders. It all had to do with us coming to terms that we want to implement change and structurize it, because Pluto represents death and rebirth, okay? It's like the Grim Reaper, you know? it's not going to kill you and not bring you back. That's the rebirth part. But it's going to kill some traditions that are within that form. So these political traditions that we've been following so long, they're about to go out the door. We're not going to see things the way that they've been for the past few hundred years, you know. And Jupiter meeting here makes that... Jupiter is literally the expander. It's the biggest planet in our atmosphere, okay? And it brings good luck. It's a very good luck sign. It's a benefic planet. So don't get me wrong on that part. But it's going retrograde. So when things go retrograde, they appear to go backwards to us from Earth. But it just means the Earth is going a little faster. And they're still moving at the same speed. But it looks to us that they're going backwards, okay? So anyways, that's a time when we internalize things. And we take them into a different retrospect. And we're able to look at them differently. So with Jupiter going back up to meet with Saturn in Capricorn again, this whole political thing isn't over, okay? It's not. It's not over. And the thing about this is, let's see here. Jupiter retrograde, it's going to retrograde into Capricorn starting May 14th, okay? All the way to September 13th. So I'm telling you guys, this energy that we've been dealing with, it's not over. I think we all kind of are a little hopeful, but it's not over. It's not over. We're gonna see some stuff here in the next week that might be very unexpected. We can hope for the best because we've got lovely Jupiter there, but Pluto's a big mean dog, man. So it's like we've got to have those energies collectively work together, and if they don't, in the sign of Capricorn, let's just hope, okay? That's all I'm going to say about that part. But here's the cool thing, okay? A little hope. So we've got some hope to shine. So North Node being in Gemini now, all of this stuff that we have been trying to figure out and, you know, what's going on, and everybody's just kind of been in a hiatus of like, are we going to live, or is the world going to live? Like, what is going on, okay? Now, like I said earlier, Gemini is represented by Mercury, okay? Mercury is the fastest moving planet, it's the messenger of the gods. And Mercury's going to, when we have the North Node in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, the all-knowing, fastest moving planet, and my moon's in Gemini, so that's why I get off on tangents and I talk a lot with my hands, or I just talk a lot, or, you know, or not at all. That's the polar opposite of Gemini. It's the duality. But anybody with Virgo moon or Gemini moon, you guys are going to really be experiencing this the next 18 months. If you don't know your chart, like I said, look up your chart. You can see where your moon sign is. That's an easy one to tell. And you can see where your sun sign is. You know where that is because that's the month you're born in. And the most important thing, honestly, is if you get your time of birth, because your ascendant sign, your rising sign, makes up your whole chart. It dictates where the houses are, where the planets are, and everything. So your time is really, really important. You can still read the chart without the time, but it's a lot more precise with the time. Okay, I need to stay on track. So North Node in Gemini, a lot of these questions that we've just been kind of like in a hiatus with are going to come to light now, because we are now in the house of the messenger of the gods. So we're not hanging out in Cancer's house anymore, where we're just trying to be comfortable and take care of ourselves. And, you know, this last 18 months, I did the most crying I've ever done in my life. And I'm a Capricorn. And because maybe the South Node was in Capricorn, you know, there was a lot of self-undoing for me. But Cancer's a very emotional sign. It's a water sign. So, you know, there's plenty of breakups during this time, the last 18 months. Another thing too, like with the South Node when it was in Capricorn. I don't know if this is just for me or if you guys can relate, but Capricorn represents the knees and the teeth. I literally cracked my freaking kneecap, okay, at the beginning, right when it moved into Capricorn, and I'm trying to get tooth work done. I had braces and my teeth got all shifted, and This has been literally the 18 months of my life have been having these two injuries. So it's a little ironic in that sense too. And the other thing, okay, North Node in Cancer that we're just leaving like now as we speak, that's been there 18 months. Cancer represents the chest, the breast, because it's the mother, but under the chest are the lungs. What is this virus affecting? Okay, it's a little weird there. But moving into Gemini, we're going to have a lot more of our questions answered. We're not going to be so stuck in this like dreamy land of like emotions. It's going to be more logic. And that's really important. We need that right now tremendously. And the good thing about this is it's going to be making good aspects to all the energy that we're going to have for a while in Taurus, which is 8 years of the of Uranus. And Uranus brings immense change to the earth. It brings change to money, food, and the earth itself. So no coincidence that this is all happening during the same time. We will see Uranus in Taurus's house for another 6.5 years now. So, you know. Another thing here, okay. We just had Saturn move into Aquarius. Now, this is very important, okay? Saturn naturally rules Capricorn and Aquarius. Capricorn is is where it's a little more concrete. It's more about getting things done. Saturn represents like the principal, okay? So the principal, like you hear him coming down the hall, you're like, oh, everybody like pay attention, like the principal's coming. And yeah, you might not like that principal or teacher, professor, as so to say, so much, and the hard work that they make you do. But at the end of it, you're rewarded because you got a good grade if you worked hard. You know what I mean? Or it can be the opposite. You could have just sat there and did nothing in class, and now you're paying for it because you didn't get to graduate. So Saturn does bring lessons for us, and it does have a lot of stuff to teach us, and it's hard work, 100%. But if you work through that hard work, you are gifted so well. So well. So it's definitely something to look forward to. So being in the house now of Aquarius, okay? Aquarius literally represents groups, friends, humanity. They're the biggest humanitarianists. I don't know. They're big on humanitarianism. I can't speak right now. If this is how Mercury North Node in Gemini is going to be, I'm screwed because this is... Yeah, I can't be stumbling over my words this much. But also when Saturn is in Aquarius, it's going to come in as the principal, okay? And it's going to make sure that we get back to having friendships and having groups and having humanitarian things being normal again. So it just moved in there literally, like a couple weeks ago? So it's at 1 degree right now. Okay, and it's going to go back into Capricorn. So we're just kind of starting to feel this. And as soon as it went into Aquarius, people started going out and rioting that they were sick of being in quarantine. It was also the same day that Venus moved into Gemini. And Venus is our love sign, and it's also how we connect with other people. Okay, and in Gemini, it's like a social butterfly all over the place. So at the beginning of the quarantine, we were cool. Yeah, everything was in Taurus energy. Taurus is Netflix chill, like, it's all good. Gemini, try to hold down to Gemini. They are all over the place. I'm a Gemini moon, I know. Okay, so that, and then having Saturn just move into Aquarius where it wants to make things humanitarian, and we can see why we've just started going crazy a little bit. And I did do this as a warning in my last video. I said exactly this. Be prepared. People are going to start rebelling and not wanting to be in quarantine anymore. And sure enough, exactly what I said, okay? The good thing about Saturn in Aquarius, though, is it is an inventor. It literally is an inventor. So if there's anything that is going to be solved, and Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years. It just was in Capricorn 2.5 years. And now it's going back there for 6 months. So I guess I get a lovely 3-year experience. I mean, we all get a 3-year experience with it. But my sun sign's in Capricorn. I have a lot of planets there. So it's like I'm getting hit a little extra hard. But after it moves back out, so I think, what is it? It's going to be the end of December. Yeah, so the end of December, starting back into next year in 2021. You know, this is going to be the energy, unfortunately. And, you know, we can be promised that it's going to be shifting and different here and that. But I do believe that we are going to be going through a lot of the same energy. And it's going to be maybe, you know, taking us off our restrictions and giving them back. Taking them away, giving them back. And it's going to go back and forth like that for a while. But starting here, let's see, May 14th, Jupiter's going to go retrograde back into Saturn. So about the end of May, okay? Towards the end days of May. Yeah. Towards the end days of May, we're going to have Saturn meeting up with Jupiter. And okay. Let me cut that part out. Fix my hair. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so I've got it here so I don't get too lost because I had a feeling I would. Yeah, so sorry, May 11th, Saturn is going to retrograde from Aquarius back into Capricorn, and it will stay there until September 29th, okay? So, May 11th, and it's going to take, you know, maybe a week to move into Capricorn, so by the end of May, all the way through the end of September, September 29th, our whole summer, okay, we're going to still be dealing with this political shit and restrictiveness, okay, and we don't have the South Node there anymore, so it's not trying to get rid of these things anymore. They're more like settling in their comfort zone. So I'm not trying to scare people. I'm just telling you what to be prepared for. Don't, you know, it's good to have high expectations and high hopes, but you also want to be realistic so those hopes aren't shattered and you're not, you know, and that's coming from a Capricorn. We're pessimistic. I get it. But it's like, this is why. Because when shit like this goes down and the whole world's in a pandemic, I've already been thinking about this for so many years that I'm chilling now. It's like, you know. So it's just, we've got a lot of energy coming. I'm going to get to the sour stuff first, stay with that, and then I'm going to get to the goodies at the end. But I want to just jump to where I have here now. You know, it's really going to be good with it being in Gemini because we're going to get a lot of answers. With Saturn being in Aquarius, Saturn wants friendships and other people. So does Gemini. So there's going to be, and I don't even want to say this either, but there can be some type of civil war even. And I hate to make predictions like that, but I have to just throw that out there. You know what I mean? And the South Node, because the North Node's going to be in Gemini, the South Node it's always 180 degrees away. So the South Node is going to be in Sagittarius, okay? Sagittarius is the teacher, it's the guru, it loves to travel, higher knowledge, all of those things, okay? So we're going to be restricted in all of those areas. What do you think's happening right now? Schooling. Like, the whole school system is being restricted right now. I don't even know, are we allowed to travel still? Like, on plane? I don't think so. So that energy is going to persist for 18 months, okay? So if we're thinking that this is just over now, I am sorry to tell you it's not. It's just not. There's no way. There's no way. Unless astrology does something different that I've never seen it do before, hey, just keep your fingers crossed. But this is the only thing I know for a fact that has never changed, never will change. You can look back 4,000 years ago and know exactly where the sun was in the sky. So I'm not hoping for these things. I'm just reading them as they are. And I'm pretty upset about it too. The good thing though too with North Node though in Gemini is short travel will be okay. Like, because it's the opposite of the sign, so it represents everything that sign doesn't. Sagittarius is long distance travel, so Gemini is short distance travel. Okay, and we also might have a lot of things come up with our siblings. So that might be something pretty big too. So that's another thing. Siblings over the next 18 months might be a big theme for you as well, okay? But the main thing is communication, making connections, networking, and we're having to do all that now through forms like this. So it is what it is, but you know, this is just how it's going to be for a little bit. So we just have to get through it and at least understand what we're expecting, you know what I mean? The other thing, let's see here. Okay. Okay, so May 11th. All right, so let's get to some good stuff here, okay? On May 11th, we've got Mercury's going to enter Gemini, okay? So now that we have the North Node in Gemini, when Mercury goes there too, Mercury represents our thoughts, okay? Mercury is how our mind works. Like I was saying, Gemini rules the thoughts, the mind. So that planet is affiliated with Gemini. So it's going to be in its home sign. So in its home sign, it does great. So around May 11th, a lot of stuff is going to come to light. A lot. We're going to understand things on a grand scale. And I think this veil of confusion is going to be lifted quite a bit, okay? So stay tuned for May 11th. Which oddly is the same day that Saturn goes back into Capricorn. It will take about a week or so to fully get there. Then May 13th, okay, 2 days later, Mars is entering Pisces. So Mars doesn't do the best in Pisces because, I mean, Pisces isn't really a warrior. They're not a killer. Mars represents the fighter. They're the warrior, okay? Like, it's ruled by Aries, fire sign, and Scorpio. Those are two intense signs. So in Pisces, and you don't want to really address the issues that are coming about. So when this moves and meets Saturn in Capricorn and we have all this political stuff going on, it needs to be figured out. We can't have this laziness of, you know, so on a grand scale, we're not going to have too much control over this. This is government type stuff. And I hope this word doesn't get triggered and my video gets freaking pulled, but whatever. GOV. I can't anyway. All right. So on May 20th, the sun enters Gemini. Now that is when we are going to fully understand and embody the new North Node in Gemini for the next 18 months, okay? So May 20th is when we're really going to feel it. May 20th and also May 11th when Mercury enters. So we're going to get a good feel of this energy. We're going to have a little bit of chaos in between those weeks. But those two dates, May 11th and 20th, we're definitely going to feel the new energy that we're going to be living for the next 18 freaking months, okay? And it's not bad. Honestly, it's going to be a lot easier than it was in Cancer and Capricorn. The thing about this, though, is we're not going to have any signs in water signs anymore. The only thing that's in water sign is Neptune, and that belongs to Pisces. So we are literally, we're not even really going to have much fire. This is all earth and water. All earth and water. Okay. So it's all, yeah, earth and air. Thank you. See, dude, if I have problems talking throughout this 18 months, I'm going to be so pissed off. Like, this already happens during Mercury retrogrades. I don't need it happening just because the North Node's moving into Mercury's spot of Gemini. Oh, man. All right. Tell me how you Geminis and Virgos are doing out there after today. So, yeah, what was I saying? So, we're only going to have earth and air. So, it's going to be a lot of logic and a lot of realisticness, okay? So, I've always called, like, earth and fire a volcano. That's most of my energy. Earth and air would be like a tornado, okay? But it could be a tornado to the things that need to be done with. Think about that. And then earth and water is always like a waterfall, or you know what I mean? So there's different energies you can tie with it that are good or bad, but we are going to be focusing more mentally and physically on everything the next 18 months than anything else. Like all the water energy that we just went through, we're not going to be crying as much anymore, okay? But water does represent our emotions, okay? So we have to not completely detach from our emotions. We still have to have empathy and sympathy and understanding throughout all this. We can't be erratic and just, you know, going off of our air thoughts, because what do you call an airhead? Someone that doesn't know anything, you know what I mean? So we do luckily have Neptune in Pisces, which will be making good aspects during this time, but yeah, the energy is shifting to all air and earth, okay? So just be aware of that. And then I wanted to show you guys something pretty cool here. Okay, this book is written in I think I looked it up earlier, 1950 something. Anyways, it's really freaking old, okay? Now, check this out. Now, the Saturn and Pluto conjunction. This is exactly when this virus took off. Okay? Check out what this says here. Okay. Saturn and Pluto. So, if they make good aspects, they're self-disciplined, capable, deep concentration, a self-confident, high-principled personality. Here's the adverse, and this is what we're experiencing. Unpredictability, an obsessive personality, sometimes susceptible to unusual diseases. The day this met up is when the freaking coronavirus came out, okay? And I hope, damn it, this video does not cut me out for saying that. Ugh. All right, so check this out. I just had to start over because I said a trigger word, I think. So Saturn, when it met with Pluto here, okay? You see that adverse aspect there? Unpredictability, an obsessive personality, sometimes susceptible to unusual diseases. You see that? Guess what happened during this exact conjunction? And I don't even have to say it, you know. So, come on. All right. So, I don't sit here and research and do all this for fun. I have found truth in it. And I like to use history and try to find events and, you know, line them up with the similar events that are going on right now, because they do all make sense and they do all come together and you do see the same type of energy, okay? So that's why history repeating itself is no coincidence. There's no such thing as a coincidence. There isn't. There's just not. Okay, there's no such thing as a coincidence. So please say that out loud if you've never before. There is no such thing as a coincidence. And there's no such thing as a coincidence with all of those PRESs all, you know, dying or whatever because of this curse they call it. The 20-year curse? No, it's called Saturn meeting up with frickin' Jupiter every 20 years because that's how long it takes. So every time that's happened, we've had someone in a higher position no longer alive. So that's not to say it's our current person. Who knows who's getting voted in? But all I'm saying is something's coming up. Some type of chaos between whoever's next. And that's all I'm going to say, okay? Mark my damn words for it. So I do have to start coming out with these videos all the time because I need to show proof within, you know, time. And I want to get better at making the videos because I know I'm all over the place and I am sorry. But I do get a little ahead of myself. I go back and forth and stuff here and there. But I'm going to be bringing a lot more content for you guys. I really want to just kind of help people. I mean, astrology for me helped me seriously just realize I wasn't as crazy as I thought I was. It was like, okay, my life is like this because this happened. I see where this point in my life happened. Yada, yada, yada. So it's helped me. And now through knowing and practicing for 10 years, I've been able to see patterns, and I can meet someone and I can call out your sign. I will know either your sun, your moon, or your rising. Those are your three big. So do yourself a favor, give yourself some homework, look up your sun, moon, and rising sign, and you'll know just by the chart, okay? And it also tells you, and I'll show you right now. But those are the three most important aspects of your whole birth chart. Your sun is your soul. I like to say mind, body, soul, okay? Mind is your moon. A lot of people don't see it. It's in your mind, okay? It's hidden aspects of yourself. Body is your rising sign, because your rising sign is the first house. It's one of the most important aspects in astrology, and it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh no, I'm a Capricorn, I'm a Leo. But it's like, did you know your rising sign is Scorpio? And your energy is a lot more like a Scorpio, and then they read into that and they're like, you know what I mean? So, and then the soul is the sun for us, okay? So mind, body, soul. Those are your three big pillars that you want to know in your astrology. And then I'm going to show you something that can help you interpret your chart a little bit with the energy I just discussed, if you were able to keep up with that. But I'm going to be bringing a lot more content to where I can teach people too. But when there's big events like this, like the node changing, this is huge. I'm coming with the black facts, okay? So I just have to kind of get it out there. And then I'm going to go into making videos about each sign and the meaning and yada, yada, yada. But this is a big day, and we have a lot of big stuff coming up. So I'm putting this out there now. And if you don't follow me, I'm adding my links at the bottom. I'm just getting started with making my videos and such. It's been quite the journey. And it is not the easiest to put yourself out there when you're talking about stuff like this, if you know what I mean. Okay, so. But anyway, thank you for listening. I'm your spiritual gardener. I hope that clarified a bit for you guys. You know, if you have any questions, please feel free in the comments, message me, anything. I'm a little all over the place today, and I could feel it. And like I said, I hope this isn't the next 18 months for me, because I don't know. All right, you guys, I love you guys. Just know that the craziest of the crazy is over. This year's gonna continue to be a little erratic. That's just the truth. But after this year, geez, that's gonna be like a whole new world. And just the fact that the North Node moved into Gemini today is huge. And man, I don't even think I explained to you guys what the North and South Node are. Like, this is what I mean by skipping ahead. But North and South Node are two invisible points in the sky. You don't actually see them, but they're these two nodal points. And it's where the sun and the moon's axes are, okay? Because the Earth's on a tilt. So, yeah. The nodes move in those directions, and it moves clockwise when all the other planets move counterclockwise. And Chiron also moves clockwise. Or counterclockwise. Anyway. Alright, I'm getting too deep into this. I hope you guys were able to keep up. Hope I answered some questions. Just know that there are a lot of good things coming with North Node Gemini, with Saturn and Aquarius. We might not see it till more towards the end of the year. And if you're in any relationships right now, just use this next month to really decipher and kind of sift through what's important, who's important to you. Because that's going to be the big thing. With Venus going retrograde, we want to analyze our relationships, who's important, like I said, who's tried reaching out to you and why, and etc. So you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, you guys, I'm going to stop blabbing. So I love you all. Spiritual Gardener.